Hello, everyone. It's Katrina. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm going to have to try to speak up. I'm trying to use the mic on my, and I see that even the video is not coming from my phone. Hold on just a sec. That is definitely coming from my computer, not my phone. Nope, that's the phone. Okay. All right, good. We're in good shape. Sorry about that. Okay, so welcome. I'm so glad to have you all here today. I wish it wasn't quite so zoomed in. I feel kind of okay, but today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're a little early yet. It's not quite time, but we've decided to do a one sheet wonder. And that is where you take one sheet and you cut it and you don't have any waste and you make cards from it. We're using a 6x6 sheet. We're actually going to use 3 of them. Each 6x6 sheet will make 4 cards. I had to stop and think. When you the first thing we'll do is we'll show you the cuts so that you can see that, and then we'll go through. And I have prepped 6 cards today. They are Christmas cards. Since everybody's getting ready for Christmas card season, Christmas card making season, and Christmas cards are a great time to do one sheet wonders because you can quickly come up with several cards at a time instead of doing them one at a time. We are using Stampin' Up! Products today, but it is a retired suite that we're using. That I just still had some of, and I thought it would be good to use up some of that and let you all see that, the papers and stuff that you get from Stampin' Up! Are consistently good, and even after they retire, they still have usefulness. And so if you're here, let me know in the comments. I will watch the comments for as long as I can. Once we start crafting, then I won't be able to watch as closely at that point. So what we've got are these 6 cards, and I'll go ahead and I'll show you. This is the stamp and die set that we're using. It's Delicate Pines. It was a bundle. I did not use the dies, so we didn't do any die cutting in these cards, but there's a lot of layering in it, so there's still a lot of detail. But if you want to, you can still add on top of what we do today. You can still add some die cuts, and on a couple of them I may go back and add die cuts. I've cut enough stuff for 12, but we're doing 6 today, and I don't know if we'll get through 6. We'll do as many of them as we can, at least 4, so that you can see an example of each one of them. Okay, so here are some of the dies, and when you see the paper, which I'll show you in just a minute, you'll see that the dies coordinate with the paper, and you can actually cut out some of the designs on the paper with these dies. Okay, and then the stamps, and I have to apologize, but these are Christmas stamps, so I've used red, so they are stained, okay? But you've got 3 sentiments. You've got warmest winter wishes, celebrate the season, and it's the most magical time of the year. And then you have all these snowflakes, and the suite that this was in is called Delicate Pines, and all the snowflakes are made from pine branches and stuff. So I'm going to reach up here and I'm going to grab the paper so that I can show you the paper, and you'll be able to see the whole design the way it was. I actually had not planned to get this set. I was getting a different set, and when I saw this one, I couldn't not get it. That's how pretty I thought it was. I did get the other set too because, I have a problem. And this was actually, these 2 items, these 2 sets were my first Stampin' Up! Products, and it would have been last fall when I purchased them. Okay, so the one we're using today is called Delicate Pines. And you can see right here, you can see how the snowflakes are made with the pine boughs. And that's the other side of it. We should add this one. Okay, and we have this one here, which is really nice. And this one. Okay. That's two of those. Okay. This one here. And you can see how all the die cuts coordinate back to these, which is pretty awesome. Stampin' Up! Does a lot of that, and I really like it. So this one we've seen, this is just a bigger print of the same thing, and I love the back here. We're using this print in a different color today. It looks like a frosty window to me. That's what it reminds me of. Okay, so we've got this one. I really like that side. And then we've got this side. And I've used that side, but I don't use it very often. Let me see. There was one more that we're using it today, but we didn't see it. And it is, there's the large sheet. So it's like this. Okay, and like I said, it looks like frost built up on a window or something is what it reminds me of. But anyway, really beautiful papers. The stamps stamped gorgeously like always, and the die cuts work really well. Okay, so I'm not going to, well, I froze again. I'll keep talking in case it decides to come back on. We're working on some different things here. My husband did that one thing and it fixed it for a little while. But it seems to be back again. So hopefully we'll be able to fix it again. I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to sit here and wait to see if I'm going to open my door and see if that helps. When I open the door, I have to put the gate up so that they can't get in here. They haven't realized that they could probably. Okay, so now that the door's open, if we can actually do this today. All right, so welcome. Hi, Kelly. Welcome. I'm glad to see you here. But anyway, I was just talking about the Delicate Pines, the suite that we're using today. It is retired, so you can't get it anymore. But there's nothing saying that we can't use what we already have. We don't have to go buy something new every time. And I'll thank you, Kelly, not to mention that I do. I've already admitted to that. Okay, so I'm going to turn my camera so that we can see. And what we'll start with today is the cutting instructions for our one sheet wonder. And like I said, you can cut as many of these as you want. If you cut more than one, well, actually, even if you just cut one, if you've got a two-sided paper, you can use both sides, even on the same card, so that you get more variety. But if you cut more than one sheet, then it works that you have even more variety. For every 6x6 you cut, you'll be able to create 4 cards. So I did 3. So in total, I'll have 12 cards when I'm done. But today we will only be doing no more than 6. And I think we'll probably get through 4 of them. Okay, so here we are. And there we go. No, me, Kelly, not you. All right, let's see. While we're frozen, I'll just see if I can adjust everything. Okay, welcome back. Glad to have you. Okay, so I So I've changed it a little bit. Good Lord, really? Okay, so I'm glad you can hear me even though I'm frozen. Thank you, Kelly, for that. Okay, so yeah, I'm only there for a second. Now I'm frozen again. Okay, so anyway, so on this 6x6 sheet of paper, you're going to cut it down the middle from top to bottom at 3 inches. Okay, and then you are going to take half of, the 3x6. You're going to take one of your 3x6s and you are going to cut that in half at 3 inches. Take your 3x3 square and set it to the side because you're going to use that piece as it is. Take the other 3x3 square that you have and cut it into 1.5 inch squares. So that square should cut it into 1 inch. Maybe I'll stay here this time. We'll see. But you the other side into 1 inch strips and then cut each of those 1 inch strips into 2 sections, one of them 4 inches and one of them 2 inches. Okay, this will be your first card. These 4 up here is one card. This is one card. This is one card, and this is one card. And like I said, if when you cut it, if you wanted to, you could alternate these so that you had different designs on, so you could do it like that. For today, what I've done is I have used the same one, the same side for all of my cards, but that's just the way it worked out today. It doesn't mean that's the way you have to do it. Okay, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to pick up first, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick one up and get it started. I'm going to give just a few seconds in case you want to take a screenshot of this. So I'll count to 10 or something so that you have time to get a good screenshot of this, and then we'll go from there. Anybody got plans for this coming weekend? Because I do. Yes, I do. I'm so excited. Okay. So since the picture is frozen again, maybe the sound, I don't know. But since we're frozen again, I will go through here and I will pick which one I want to do first. Here we go. Let's line these up in an order so that we have something set up for when I do come back. Yay. I'll do this one next. Oh, no, I got to do this one. Okay, so I'll go ahead and tell you about the colors that this uses. This suite uses Old Olive, Lost Lagoon, Peaceful Pine, Shaded Spruce, Cherry Cobbler, Crumb Cake, and I have thrown in some pecan pie on one of mine, or pecan, depending on where you're from. I say it both ways because I've lived north and south of the Mason-Dixon. Okay, so we're actually going to start with this one right here. And this one is this is not Old Olive. This is Mossy Meadow, standard card base. And I may not say that for all of them, but that's what we've done. Every one of these is a standard card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. But these cards, you change the direction of the card, you just change the sentiment up some, and you're good to go. All right, so on the interior of any of these cards that are not white, we have a 3.5 by 4 that we'll put in here so that people can write on it. Okay. All right, so this one here is using these strips, and this is the side that I'm using. I'm using the pine side, and this is where I've thrown in the pecan pie. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to put those strips on the pecan pie. The pecan pie is cut at 1 1/8 by 4 1/8. So you're only going to have like a 1/16 of an inch going around the border. So it's just going to be a really small border. The strips that we're using in this one is the 1 by 4. Go ahead and put this one on so I don't glue on the wrong side or anything. Get this one out of the way so it doesn't happen. All right. These are then going to go on this cherry cobbler that is 3 7/8 by 4.5. I'm just putting the glue on. Isn't that pretty paper though? I just love this paper. I had logged in and I was going to get the gold because I had seen somebody using the gold. I'm like, oh, I really like that. I'm going to go get it. But I stopped and looked at other stuff first and ended up with this one too. They've got, I have just been given a look at the new catalog. So we got a new catalog starting in September. So we got our first peek of it this week. Very excited about it. If you are a Christmas aficionado and you love all things Christmas, you will love all of the catalog. The majority of the catalog is Christmas, seasonal stuff, gorgeous stuff. So check it out. If you want a copy of the catalog, let me know. We'll see about getting one mailed to you. If you live locally in Goldsboro, North Carolina, you can reach out on Facebook and I'll get one to you. Now, when we're doing these here, the way it's cut, it's just going to leave just a little bit of space between them because these were wide enough that we couldn't, well, this is not the one, I don't guess. Anyway, so we're just going to space them out, okay? We're going to try to line up top and bottom so that it all looks good on the card. There are tools you can buy. I've been contemplating buying them to make sure that the spacing is even on your cards and that everything is straight. I do have a T-square. I finally bought a T-square. Haven't used it yet, but it's here should I feel the need. And I'm contemplating buying the little L's that help you line everything up on your card. If anybody has a good one that they know of, that would be great because I've seen some reviews for some of them that are not that great. Now, I was not paying to the direction on this, but this is not really directional paper. You can see that things are going up and down on both of them. These are going sideways and up. So this one I wasn't really too concerned about. And then we're going to put this on here, okay, just like that. What are we doing with this? Okay, so I've got some twine there that I'm going to put on it. But I was like, am I putting that here or am I putting it elsewhere? You can see there where I've written the size of the paper. And then we're going to come right here. And again, we just want to put it high enough on the card so that we have room for our sentiment down there at the bottom. And the sentiment that I went with on this one is that it's the most magical time of year. And I have come around with my alcohol marker because I don't have the ink pad. So I've come around with my Stampin' Right, or what is with this thing, the Stampin' Blends. I've come in with that just around the edges. Alcohol ink, it seeps more, so you get more of a border there. So that's why you see that. And you do have to be more careful about how much you're putting on with alcohol ink. Okay, and we're going to line that up. There we go. We've got just a touch too much glue right there. So just pulled that up real quick. It's not quite where I want it, so I'm just pulling it up and adjusting so that it can be where I want it to be. Not that high. There we go. Okay. So we've got that. These little star gems came with that same suite. I haven't used many of them, and I thought this was a good chance for me to get those out and utilize some of them. Okay, so now we need to figure what we're going to do with this. And I think I'm just going to tie a bow and add it to it. This was the twine that came with the other set, which is gold, black, and white. It was a really pretty set, but this was white and gold. And I just took the Stampin' Blend, and I did it with some ribbon as well, but I just used the Stampin' Blend to bump it up and make it the color that I needed it to be. All right, so now we'll just trim this off. All of my scissors got put back up. All right, so we have a nice little bow. I'll put some glue along this and go ahead and adhere it right down here. Now, the sentiments, as per my norm, I didn't measure any of this because I was just using scraps. So since I was just using scraps, I don't have measurements for this. But find the scrap piece that fits your sentiment, and then come in with, an 1/8 of an inch or a 1/4 of an inch bigger to get your little mat there. And the mats can make such a big difference. So we're going to put one of these right here, and then we're going to come up here. We don't have like a central focal point, so I'm just going to stretch the eye out so that they look at the entire card. Glue dots. And for this one, because it's the twine and it's just really narrow like that, I'm just going to come and I'm just going to roll my glue dot up so that it doesn't take up as much room and it's not coming out outside of so you don't see it from the top of the card. You don't want to see it from the top of the card. So this is our first card. Record time I do. All right, so this one is the next one that we're doing. And this one is Warm Winter Wishes, our sentiment. And you can see that this one stays mainly in the teal family. We're using Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock, and black are the colors for this one. These are my squares, and I have just rounded the opposite corners. Okay, so we're going to put these on. Each square is going to get one of the DSPs, and then I'm going to keep talking. Hopefully you can hear me. I don't know. And we'll see what it goes with. Luckily, I have 6 other cards, so if I need to re-record, I can do that. Okay, so there's our first one. I really love the colors on this one. The Pretty Peacock, of course, is one of my favorite colors. And these little pine straw snowflakes are just absolutely gorgeous. Just going through with the glue and then putting it down. I guess I should say what size. So these are 1.5. The Pretty Peacock part is 1.5 inch squares. So this one here is 1 3/4. Actually, it's 1 3/4 exactly. Perfect. There you go. You can see how fast this is going. It's just, you just whip right through it. I think Kelly is making with us today. She had cut stuff. Can you keep hearing me and seeing me, Kelly? But she had cut stuff early, so she's probably making her cards with us. Maybe she will share them on Facebook with us later. She is actually using the gold, the other set that I had mentioned earlier. She's using that set. Every time there's a new catalog that comes out, A lot of the distributors do share what they call shares. Okay, good job, Kelly. But they do what they call shares, where they buy all the paper products, and then they divide them up among their customers, who order them. That way you get like a quarter of the pack and you only have to pay a quarter of the price instead of paying the full price. So if there are 15 papers that come out, you can get them instead of paying anywhere from $13 to $17 per paper pack. You can get all of them and just pay a quarter for each of the packs. It's kind of neat the way this one goes. So isn't this one pretty? Yeah, I do too. I love them too, Kelly. I will have to get me a better punch that does the rounded corners. Mine was giving me fits this morning. It's just too small to really work with easily. Okay, so I'm not real happy with this. My cutter, I went too heavily on it, so I've got some, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I can definitely see it. The edge is frayed. So I'm just cleaning that up just a little bit. Stampin' Up! Actually started selling sanding blocks that will help you do that. But it's also, the sanding blocks are also good for if you have embossed, you use an embossing folder with two-tone cardstock, which is white core in the middle. And then you can jump in there. I'm going to see what I'm going to do with this. No. So this one was 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. I'd already told you the measurements on everything else. But you can go in and sand off after you've embossed it and bring the white forward so that it just gives it more contrast and more dimension. I like it. So that's probably why they're selling the Stampin' Blocks, but you can also use them or not the Stampin' Blocks, the sanding blocks, but you can also use them like I just did. We didn't pop anything up on that last card. What was I thinking, right? So our sentiment, like I said earlier, is warmest winter wishes, and we just have a pretty peacock. When I cut the insides for the card, the little 3 1/2 by 4-inch whites, what happened is I ended up with some 1-inch strips and then a larger. So for every 8 1/2 by 11 I got 6 card inserts. And so you cut long ways down at 4 inches, and then you cut each of those 4 by 11-inch things into 3 1/2 inch. You cut them at 3 1/2 inches. And that gives you a 1/2 inch or a quarter, it's 1/2 inch that is 11 inches long. And then it gives you another little piece where I've cut this out of. I'm going to center it down here and I'm going to pop it up. Just going in with my dimensionals. Because this is kind of narrow, I just did one line down the middle. And that's usually straight down the middle like that when it's narrow like this. Plus you've got 2 layers, so it's not going to bend a whole lot. I'm just going to eyeball centering it right down here. So you've got your warmest winter wishes. So we have our embellishments. So we're going to add those. And these are all the same size. It came in different sizes, but these are all the larger ones. The glue on the bottom does not stick to these as well as it does others. So just be really careful picking the glue up too when you pick up the card. Or not the card, but the embellishment. This one here, you can see where it has slid off. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there you can, let's see. Where are you at? There you are. Yeah, it's not going to focus close, but you can see when you're looking at it in person, you can see that some of the glue is off to the side. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to try to push it back so that we're not looking at the glue on the card. There we go. All right, and I'm just going to put this one right like that. Then we're going to just tie a little bow with this, and it's going to be a little bitty bow because I cut this little bitty. There we go. We're going to tie it just like we tie every other bow. And I know I just keep telling you how to do it, but in case there's somebody new watching, we'll always do that. So you just pull it tight and then hold on to the center and pull. And then once you've got it in the size and shape that you want, you trim your ends. There we go. We're almost there on this one. Okay, there, that is good. That is the size that I want it to be. I'm going to put it right here so that it's right there in the middle of the card. So I'm going to have to trim my edges here. Before I trim them, I'm going to put some glue on my little silicone mat over there. These, I'm not doing a dovetail, I'm just cutting. So I've just snipped each of them like that. And then I'm just going to dab it into the little line of glue that I put over here to keep it from fraying. And you can use a lighter to do that as well, but I don't smoke, so I don't have a lighter in the house. I do candles, so I'm sure there's matches somewhere, but I'm not going to use those in here. Okay, so now I need glue dots again, and they're right here in front of my face. And you just look at the knot on both sides and decide which one you want on the top. I just pressed my bow into the glue dot and it's on the back there. And now I'll just come over here and put it over here instead. And just put it right there. And that is our second card. This one does not get an insert because it's already white in the center. Easy to write on, easy to see. Okay, I haven't decided on which embellishments I'm going to use for this one. Let's see, what is this one? Okay, we haven't done these yet. So this, I've got some black ones here, and I've got these little aqua colored sequins. So we'll see what we want. So this one I have done a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead while we're talking, but I have run a piece of black that is 4 by 2.5. Okay, it's 4 by 2.5. I've just run it through the embossing, with an embossing folder because I wanted to create some dimension, but I've also got a little something else there, and I'm going to check and see which side we like best. I'm always looking for different ways to add texture and interest to the card. So we're going to layer these up. This is I think we're supposed to use this side on this one. Yes, we are. Okay, so we've got Warmest Winter Wishes again on a bigger sheet or a bigger piece of paper. So now we're just going to be putting these right on top of this. But we need to decide which side we want to use. And either side of this is fine. And there are just my measurements. Okay. And I don't know if you all have used the gel pens, the white gel pens from Stampin' Up yet, but this is them. And that's all I did is just kind of followed the lines that were impressed into this. So we can do it like this. The reason I picked this one, this particular embossing folder, is because, like I told you, this reminds me of frost on a window. And like this reminds me of water. So I'm like, okay, it's all water. Let's check it out. Let's try it out. I'm not sure that I like it with the white, but what I do like is that the white, I had given up on white gel pens, but this, you can see how bold this white is. it just keeps on going. But I'm going to do it this way because I don't care for it, mainly because my hands weren't steady enough when I did it, and it's just not a smooth line. Okay, we're going to, since the card is 4 1/4, we're just going to kind of center it up there at the top. Where's my ribbon for this? Who knows, right? Okay. All right. So then we're going to come in, and these are the 1 by 2 inch pieces that we cut. I probably should pop these up, but since I forgot to, what I'll do is I will pop the middle one up so that we've done it with something to add the dimension. Dimension is going to be more important on this one than some of the others, because even though we've added texture, there's less going on this card. Okay, like that. And we have our dimensionals. I'm just going to cut a strip about the same size. That was a little too, there we go, of the edge here, and that's what we're going to use, and we're just going to stick it right down the middle. And then we'll add it right here. I'm trying to make sure that I've left the same amount of room between each of them and that I'm lining them up evenly. There we go. This is, I'm going to grab some more of this because that's the one that'll go with this, I think. We're not going to do a whole lot with it. We're just going to do something really simple with it. I'm putting it behind our sentiment. I'm going ahead over here on the side, and I have put some glue on my little mat again, and I am fixing my edges to where they're less likely to fray. This ribbon in particular, as you saw on the last one, will fray quite easily. Okay, so while that's drying, we're going to adhere the white. To the base of, the layer that it's going to be sitting on, which is the Pretty Peacock. By the way, this card is Lost Lagoon. And there we go. We've got that. And we're going to pop this up. Okay. And again, I'm not going to cut a strip, but I'm going to cut 2 strips, like right here and right here. And we're going to come to the edges with it too. I'm not going to put anything in the middle because that's where our ribbon is going. So this is going to go here, and we're going to take the ribbon and do like this so that it is visible, but it is not taking up any space on the card. I'm just trying to make sure that I've got it folding where I want it to. Not quite. Okay, that might be good right there. Yep, that's going to be more of what I want. Okay, all right. So now I'm going to grab my glue dots, and I'm going to put this down. So this time I'm going to use more than 1 glue dot. I'm going to put 1 there. And that's where we're going to adhere the card to the base, or the ribbon to the base. And then I'm going to put another one on the ribbon itself again. And that's where we're going to put our little bow up there, like that. And then we're going to do 1 more on this end. And it's going to fold up like that, so I need to do it on the other side. Right here. Okay. Just like that. So we've just kind of back and forthed it. And then we'll put this on top of it like that. 1, and 2. When I put all this stuff together, I went through and made sure that I had embellishments and ribbon in each one of them, and evidently I was not careful enough because this one didn't have any ribbon. So we might get to one that has ribbon for 2 cards. I don't know. All right, so there we go. So that is just like that, and we've got the ribbon back there. And now I'm unsure about which of these to put. At first I was going to put the black, but I had pulled these to use them, and they certainly go with this. But I think I'm going to stick with the black ones for this. Go there, and then put one here. And I've told y'all a million times why I use 3. Odd numbers are better. I tend to go with 3. And it's nothing more than the fact that the human eye finds the odd number more appeasing. And that is that card. Simple, but elegant. All right, so we need to make sure. Okay, this one is good. This one here, we're starting with Pretty Peacock. We've got, this is the embellishments I was telling you about that came with the suite that the designer series paper is from. We've got a couple of little pieces in here. We're going to do something a little fussy with our sentiment on this one. Here's our ribbon. I didn't have cherry cobbler ribbon, just like I didn't have cherry cobbler twine. But I did have this gold and cream. So I just took my marker and I fixed it. Made it what I needed it to be. All right, again, this piece is 3.5 by 4, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in there. I would be coming back in on this and stamping on the inside some of those snowflakes, those pine bough snowflakes from the bundle that I showed you all earlier to bring the card to the inside. Okay. Now our square, I mean, this is just really simple. It's just 3 squares. Well, this one was 3 by 3. This one is 3.25 by 3.25. And I didn't want a large border of this Lost Lagoon. So it is 3 3/8 by 3 3/8. So you're only going to get like a 1/16 of an inch on the border on it. Okay. I'm going to take my fingernail file and kind of see if I can smooth these edges a little bit before I glue it down or glue on it. I've got a little sanding disc from Tim Holtz as well. I just don't have them here where I can get to them. And they go right on the these things, which I do have where I can reach them. You just take the little foam off and this sanding disc goes right on it. So it's convenient. Okay, just a tiny, tiny margin, and I'm looking at the top and the bottom. There we go. You really don't see it a whole lot here, but when you put it on the card, you see it better because the card is so much darker. This one will have a bigger border, which is what I was wanting for this one, because I wanted to see if I could bring that cherry cobbler color from the berries out. Okay, now we can pop this up or we can put it down just like that. It's entirely up to you and whatever you decide. I haven't decided, so I'm not going to do anything with it right now. I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to grab my sentiment pieces. All right, so there it is. Okay, Celebrate the Season is the one we're using on this one, and you can see here that I have some smaller pieces. All right. My intention is to put these together and put this on top of it like this. That's kind of what I want. But I don't want to be able to see it from the top and the bottom, so I'll need to trim one of them down. And I'm going to trim it just like I do when I do my strips and they go over the edge, I'm just going to wait and trim them at the same time. All right, so on one end, I want Lost Lagoon on the bottom and cherry cobbler on the top. And on the other end, if it can be done that way, let's see. I may have needed to do it differently. So this end can definitely be like this, but this end, it'll have to be done the same way so that the, well, let me see. Well, I know what I'll do. I'll come here. This is, by the way, these little strips that I'm using here, I just cut them out with this. I just punched them out, one of each color, and then sliced them down the middle. That's all I did. But because of the way I want to do this, I just cut the other edge there so that I could glue it the way I want to. I'm going to do one end at a time, and I'm just going to put the glue down, make sure they're lined up the way I want them to be, and then I'm going to come in on top of it with this. I'm going to get so that one edge, now see the bottom edge here, I don't want to see the red at all. That way I only have to trim one edge, right? There we go. And now I'm going to do the same thing on this side, this end. Wanted them the opposite way this time. This has just got crazy. Okay, so I want this one on the bottom, so I need it to be this way. Yes. Yes, like that. Okay. And I'm still going to just put glue on both of them and put it on top of them. They're lined up the way I want them to be. And again, I'm going to go the bottom I want to not see, and then I'll trim the top. Perfect. All right. So I just wanted something just a little bit different, something that maybe we haven't done before, and that's why I did that. Okay. So I'm just going to come in here and just trim this smallest piece, this little bitty piece off. Perfect. See, isn't that cute? I love it. I'll do it this way. All right. So, okay. And then we have this ribbon, of course, and we have these embellishments that we're going to use. For the ribbon, I am going to wrap this one around. For this, we would use a tape runner or two-sided tape or tear tape, just because ribbon does better with something like that than with adhesive. I'm going to press it into the tape runner, and then I'm going to come over here, make sure it's as straight as, as I want it to be, and that it's even. And I'm going to put some more tape runner down and press it into that. And then I'll just trim off this excess that we don't need in there. Okay. I do want to pop it up. The more I thought about it, the more I was certain that I wanted to pop it up. And we've got our dimensionals right here, but I would like some of the larger dimensionals. There we go. So we'll turn those over. Okay, and there's all of our dimensionals, and we'll put this down. We're going to center this at the top, and I don't know if you've picked up on it or not, but I usually, my sentiment is usually at the bottom of the card, somewhere in that bottom third of the card, if you are paying attention to the rule of thirds. Here we go. I like that popped up like that. I really do. And this we're going to pop up as well, just because I'm in the mood to do so. How about you all? What are y'all in the mood for? You want to pop things up or leave them be? Two more and we'll be done with this. And we've almost done, we've been on for 50 minutes, but guys, we have done 4 cards. When we finish this one, we've done 4 cards in 50 minutes. And that's with me waiting to come back online several times as well. So this is what I was telling you about with the one sheet wonders. You can make your cuts and you can go with it, and it just comes together really quickly. There you go. I was going to use the red ones on this one. I just have to find the place to open it. But this, you could actually use any of these with this. Wouldn't matter one way or the other. You could also, because we've done that with the ribbon, what we did with the ribbon, it's got that hint of gold in it. You could also come in and do gold embellishments on this. Okay, so, I thought these were different sizes, but they are. These are smaller ones and these are the larger ones. So I'm going to put a larger one up here, one here, one here. And no fuss, no mess. There is card number 4. I'm going to go ahead and do at least one more because, we've got some time. I'd like to get all 6 of them. Kelly's always ready for some pop. That tells you where she's from because she's talking about Pepsi. Okay, so here we go. That is number 4. This here is number 5. It is another Celebrate the Season, but I have split it and put Celebrate and then the Season on different lines. Okay, we have this wide ribbon for this, and I've cut a very small piece of it. I haven't decided what we're going to do. This piece is actually, it's about not quite 10 inches, but I'm not quite what we're going to do with it yet. Not quite sure what we'll do with it yet. I have 2 gold embellishments. So I did decide to go with gold on here. And I have this piece of white. Okay, so this piece of white is a 5.5 by 1.5. And it is, I did decide, I remember that I decided that this card was going to be a landscape card, not a portrait card. All right, so we're using this side this time. These are the 1 by 2 inch, and then these are 1.25 by 2.25, and I've got 3 of those. Again, looking to get that cherry cobbler to pop out of that pattern. Make it more prominent. And here we go. This paper is Shaded Spruce, which is a really pretty color of green. I like it. I actually just bought it because, and I think it was in my last order when I picked it up because I knew Christmas was coming. I was like, yep, I might need some more green. All right. This is just going to go across the card like this, and then these are going to layer on top of it. I mean, it's just as simple as that. That's all we're going to do. And then and all of this will be adhered directly. And then we'll probably pop this up because, I like to pop things up. Yay, go Kelly. She's got 3 done. I think that's amazing. It really, really does go faster when you're doing something like this. And if you're not doing a one sheet wonder type of thing, you can go through and do all of your cutting and group all your cards in packs together, so that when you're ready to move on to the next step, it's all right there. That too will help you mass produce your Christmas cards and get more of them done more quickly. I'll have to grab that glue that got down on the bottom. Let's see if I can get away with not using the eraser. Okay. I want to make sure that I put this one in the middle of the card because you get almost the whole half of one of the snowflakes, which I think is really pretty. Of course, the other one does too, the next one. So maybe I just need to make sure that they're together. Yeah, it might actually be where the cut was made now that I'm looking at it. Okay. Then we have this one down here. This will be the last one of these. And this will be card number 5. Yay. How many Christmas cards do you all give out? I know Kelly makes cards for all, most of my daddy's church friends, and then family. So I know she does a lot of Christmas cards, although she would like to know from the get-go how many she's going to have to do and not have to stop on December 12th because somebody was forgotten. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to forget anybody, and no one wants the stress of having to create another Christmas card on the fly so that they don't know they were forgotten. I guess I should have told you about this white piece on the bottom. It is just a standard piece of white paper, just basic white cardstock. But let me hold it up here and we'll see if you can see it. There you go. You can see. Be right back. Okay, Kelly, thanks. So all I did to get these lines in it is just embossed. I just put it on my card scorer and just scored at every line all the way across it. That's all it was. But again, it added some dimension and some interest to the card. And those things are always good. Okay, and then yeah, I guess I could have put that one over further, couldn't I? I wonder if I still can. Oh, I still can. Look at that. It is going to rip just a little bit, but it's on a part that's going to stay under, so it's okay. And that is why I told you in another video that you should try to do the sides first and then come into the middle. And that way you can make sure that your spacing is what you want it to be rather than guesstimating through the middle. All right, so I only put glue on the part that's on the white so you can see that the tops and the bottoms don't adhere all the way to the paper because the white paper isn't there. All right, so we're going to come in here and we're going to do, you can see that I don't always stamp perfectly. This is the second one that we've seen that was like that, right? This was a taping issue, and I forgot to take the tape off when I stamped the neck. When I stamped Celebration, but had tape on the season, or Celebrate, and had tape over the season, but then I forgot to take the tape off before I actually used the stamp. So even though there was no ink on the stamp, there was ink on the tape, and that got on the card and messed it up. So we're going to pop that up and we're going to put our sentiments on it as well. But we still aren't quite sure what to do with the ribbon. And I'm thinking I might just use the ribbon as a layer under the card, or under the, that's what I might do. And yes, trying to think of how to adhere it and how to cut it. Let me do my glue thing because this will definitely need it. You can see how it frays, and all I've done is cut it. Okay, so I haven't moved it around or anything. So I'm going to put more glue on my little mat this time than I typically do because this is a wider ribbon, and I just think it's going to need more for us to be sure that it doesn't fray. All right, and I'm going to trim it to the size that I want it. Okay, so I want it to not quite go all the way to the edge on either side. And I'm just doing a straight edge this time, like that. Okay, so if we do that, and then we'll come down here. So this is going to end up being about 5 inches that we're using. Yep. Okay, perfect. Maybe 5 1/4. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to be pretty heavy on the glue on both sides. And we'll give it a minute to dry before we actually put it on the paper. We're going to put it on the paper with the two-sided tape right here. Let's see. There we go. And I am going to pull a piece of it off that is approximately 5 inches long, because I'm going to want it to go from end to end, or as close as possible from end to end. There we go. Move that while that's drying, and I'll put this right here. Yep, and it'll be going almost end to end. So next weekend, I've told you all last week, but I'll tell you again, there will not be a live on Friday. I'll try to make sure that I have a video ready to post for you all anyway, so that you can still craft and you can still make something fun and hopefully gorgeous, right? But so I'll make sure that that's available for you, but I will not be going live, as I will be I'll be at my son's house visiting with his family, and I am more excited about that than I can even express, because the grandson is growing up so fast, and I'm just too far away. And I know Kelly understands exactly what I'm talking about, because she's too far away from her granddaughter as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put the ribbon down, trying to center it as best I can. I could do better than that. Now, the shaded spruce, of course, is the same color as the card, so an idea like this might work better if you were using a different color cardstock. You know, maybe if the cardstock was white, it'd be more visible. But the gold does kind of break it up, so I'm still okay with that. And then we've got our sentiment right over here. And again, because I have the ribbon, I don't want to use just glue, because it's not going to stick as well to the ribbon itself. So I'm going to use another piece of this two-sided tape. So you see, I've had this for like 6 years, and you see it just keeps on going. And I'm just trying to use it up. I love the tear tape from Stampin' Up, but I feel like I need to use this up, so I just keep using it. All right, so I'm going to put this here. And tear tape would be my second option of what to use on these. And we have only used 2 gold gems on this one. I could come in and I could put another one, but I decided to just do the 2. I think that when I was originally thinking, it was that this Celebrate the Season was going to be one long, and there was going to be one at each end. But that's okay. This is still fine, and this is still a cute card. And that is 5. Can you all believe it? 5. And now we're going to start on number 6. And this is half of the 12 cards. So far, we've been online for 1 hour and 5 minutes, and we've completed 5 cards. We're going to be finished by the time we get to 1 hour and 15 minutes, and you will have 6 cards. And that's with all of my talking, okay? So this one here is, we're using the 3x3 square again, but what I've done is I have cut it diagonally in my cutter. Okay, so I just lined up the corners in the where it cuts and sliced it in half. Okay, we have a 4 1/8 by 3 1/2 piece that we're going to put those on, and it is Old Olive. This is Cherry Cobbler. This is our insert for the middle, and again, it is 3 1/2 by 4. I'm going to come in later and stamp or put some of the die cuts. This one I could use some of the snowflake die cuts because I'm using that particular paper there. I could die cut out one of the snowflakes from the paper and put it on there, and that would be really pretty on the inside. Okay, so there's the inside for that. And now we're going to do these. Now, for this, I'm going to start with the ribbon. I believe I'll probably start with the ribbon because the way this is going to work is like this. I think this is it. Yeah. And then the ribbon is going to go from here and come down through here. So you're going to have a diagonal space for the ribbon. And then Celebrate the Season will be at the bottom. Or maybe it'll go somewhere. It'll go somewhere. We'll see. Okay, so we've just got a fairly narrow border here. I should have been more careful when I was lining it up because I didn't get this right in the point of the corner. So I've got a little blocked edge there, which I didn't really want. Okay, border again. So if you all have a preference on what card you would like me to post, I'm going to post a fun fold. We didn't do any fun folds today, and I apologize for that. I know I usually try to do a fun fold and a standard fold, but I did really think that mass producing some Christmas cards might be of better interest right now, or of more interest. All right, see, so I just want it to go down the center of it, and I want this will wrap around right at the corner, and then this one will wrap around right at the corner. So I'm going to come to the back of the card, or to the back of the piece of the card, and I'm going to put a little tape runner in each corner. Move that. Okay. All right, so we'll start up here at the top, and we want it to be right at the corner. And I'm going to have to trim some of the ribbon, and I realize that. But just line it up right with the corner. We'll trim that part off. And then we'll come down just like that and wrap right at the corner again, knowing that we're going to trim some of that off. Okay, yep, right there at the corner. That's good. Now I'm going to come, and I'm not going to try to do tape runner here. I'm going to use a little bit of tear tape, which was right here where I could get to it until I said what it was. Does that happen to you all? Okay, that's all right. I know where there's some. Oh, look, there it is. I found it. Found it. This one is almost gone, but it comes in so handy. I just love this stuff. And I just tore like a 4-inch piece off. I'm just going to pull the ribbon up just a tad and make sure that I am under it. And then just go on down, making sure that it's going to be under where the ribbon's going to lie. This ribbon was cream colored. I just took and, like I did the other two items that we talked about, I just made it the color I needed it. That works really well without the alcohol markers. And you'll notice I've been playing with these the whole time. My hands have, got sweaty, and the color stays. You can do the same thing with the ink pads, but it will not be color fast. That doesn't mean don't do it. It's just telling you that, if your hands get wet while you're handling it, it's going to come off on your hands. And if the card gets wet, it's going to come off then too. Trimming the edge there. Trimming the edge here. Isn't that cute? All right. So then which way do we want it to go? Do we want it this way? Oh, look, it's the same way regardless, isn't it? Somebody laughed with me, so I'm not laughing at myself by myself. Okay. All right. And we're going to adhere that. This here, I was thinking that it might go right through here, but I'm thinking I don't want to cover this up. So I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do though, is we'll put the celebrate the season down here, like I normally do, right? I'm going to grab 3 of these embellishments. Oh, wait, no, these are not the embellishments I'm using for this one. These are. These are glass. I mean, they're probably not glass, but they look like cut glass. And I adore them. But you can see that I keep using this color here. It is close to the Lost Lagoon, and it goes really well with this light color that is behind there that we really don't notice. And I'm hoping that by using these, we'll draw our eyes to it some more. Okay, so I'm going to do that. And then we'll come here and do that. And another small one. And we're going to put it right here. We're just going to keep them close together. All right. Okay, so those are the embellishments we've added. And I think it looks nice. I like those. And we're going to pop this one up as well, especially since I don't have a border for the sentiment. So that's going to be kind of blah. Oh, you know what we can do though? I said I was going to do this and I forgot. Oh my gosh. So before I went with Stampin' Up, I used to do a lot of splatter. Okay, so I would splatter the cards or the card fronts. And it just adds more interest, more detail, without having a design element in and of itself. One of the clear ones came off. So I'm working on opening up. This is gold liquid watercolor. And I stamp it a lot. It would have been good to have done that on this one before we put everything on it. That would have been the bomb. But we're going to put it on this one if I can open it. Obviously, it's been a while since I've opened it. There we go. And it's got this little dropper. You can't get this anymore. This company has closed. Okay, and there we go. So I've just put a drop of it off to the side. And then I have a little paintbrush. And I should really I hope y'all can still see, but I'm going to take this off because the glass mat will clean up really easily, whereas other things not necessarily. Okay, so my paintbrush is right here. And all you do, and I don't want to use that, all you're going to do is you're just going to load your paintbrush up with the gold paint. You can see that it's on there. And then I take a stamping block. And this is like an old stamping block that I don't use except to weigh things down to help them lie flat. And hold your paintbrush like this down at the end. And just tap it on the edge. And you're going to get splatter on your card. I just kind of move it around a little so that the card is getting a good dose of splatter. It'll be different size splats on the page. And then I just kind of look periodically to see that it's getting on there. And do I want to add more? My answer is usually yes. But you do you. How much gold splatter do you want? You can actually do this with any watercolors. I will tell you that white is a little more difficult because it tends to absorb into the paper and just it takes on the color of what's beneath it. So you get like a lighter shade of that same color. I tried doing it on blue paper once with white, and it was supposed to be like snow falling, and it was just a lighter blue. So it's kind of discouraged by that. But so white is different. You have to make sure that you have a really, really opaque white, not transparent, not translucent or anything like that. It needs to be a really solid white. A couple of solid whites, but I don't know if they would be if you watered them down in order to do splatter. the Stampin' Up! White craft ink. That's a good white. You know, you can stamp pretty boldly on it. So I'm going to pick this up and we're going to look. See? So I'm going to cover this up because I don't like that big spot on the red there, on the cherry cobbler. I just don't like the way that looks because it looks like it might leave a stain around it. So I'll make sure that that gets covered up. I'm going to let this dry for a minute. Bring this back over here. And there is our Celebrate the Season. That's our stamp for this one, or our sentiment, the cinnamon. I'm sorry, Kelly, I didn't see it when you did it. What did you LOL? So this is that cherry cobbler again, and I'm just running along the edge just ever so lightly. I'm trying to make sure that we don't have a lot, that it doesn't bleed in a lot. And you can see what part of the pen you use makes a difference, because I was using this part way down here for the rest of it, and right here I used just right up here. So it matters where you use it. There we go. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a border there. Okay, and we're going to put it down because, like I said, I didn't like that big glop, so that's where we're going to put it. And we're going to let this come over on this side. So over here, it's almost right where, you know, we're going to line it up with the designer series paper over here, like right there, and then it'll overlap over here, but that's what I want. Okay. I'm getting lazy because we've made a lot of cards, so I'm just going to take some tear tape and put it on the back of this, and that is how we're going to adhere it. Nothing popped up. But I think we made up for it on a couple of our others. We did a lot of popping up on some of the others. When you're using the tear tape, you tear off the piece you want, and you just make sure it adheres to the card, and then you just pull the cover off of it. If you have an issue pulling it off, you can always take your pick tool and pull it off with that. All right, so there we are. Celebrate the Season. And again, we're going to line it up right there and then just press. And we come over here and we're going to put it right in the center of the card, or as close to the center as we can eyeball it anyway. We're going to pop it in itself up. As soon as I find my dimensionals. There they are. Okay. And we're running out of dimensionals on this sheet. But that's not a problem because we still have this piece right here. We'll put it down the middle. And then I will grab two of these little ones that are left on this sheet right here and put them on here. So we'll say boom. My ink's not dry. Do you see what I did? So now it looks like we could have just left it there because we've got gold splatter on it anyway, but that's okay. Maybe I'll splatter the whole thing so that it looks like that was intentional. Yeah, let me put that to the side. My block. So I'm just doing some more splatter. It certainly shows up a lot better on this than it does on the pattern paper. So now our mistake looks like we did it on purpose. And we've got all of those taken off. We'll put this down. And on it goes. I'm not going to press a whole lot because we know the glue's not, or the watercolor's not dry yet. But there we go. All right, so 1 hour, 20 minutes, me waiting to go back online over and over, it seemed like. And 6 cards, lots of talking. Me mathing. Yeah. Glass houses, darling, glass houses. Okay, so hour and 20 minutes and 6 cards. And personally, I love each one of them. I hope you do. But no two of them are alike. So you've got 6 completely different cards, all gorgeous, an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you all for joining us today. I have enjoyed it. I hope you did. And we'll see you not next week, but the week after. I will put a video up for you, like I said, next week. I have 2 that are almost ready, so maybe I'll do one midweek and one on Friday. Nope, because I won't be crafting it all next weekend. Not unless I can make a couple more will I do one midweek, because I'll be in a bind for the following week too, just to have cards to show you all. So we'll see. We'll see what I can get done this weekend and what's left for next weekend. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time in 2 weeks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.